do change people do? What is it exactly? And it's the same for data. Like data, what is it they do exactly? And they've got fancy titles, data engineer, and it's a fairly new skill set. And I said before, I think it needs a rebrand. Like the whole the data word. Once you get into it, and you understand that it's more, it's problem solving. It's just problem solving over and over again. It's actually quite a fun job.
Yeah, but it does seem that you're right. Change is very similar, I think, and there isn't enough of those change agents in an organization, I don't think. Largely, I think because it's hard to put a value on the work they do. Generally, it's intangible because it adds to a bigger sense of completion. So it's not like a change agent's going to have a return on investment, because effectively what they're doing is a whole bunch of things. And then so how do you quantify how many of them you should have? But for the first time, on a project the other day, we've got user experience trained resources working on projects to help build dashboards. Now, for me, that's at the forefront, because since when have we cared, in general, what a dashboard looks like? We kind of just pull some things together. Dale, you know this as well. We kind of go, oh yeah, that looks pretty good, and we might tweak it a little bit, but then that's it. It's set. We leave it alone. No one's actually asked the end user, hey, do you this?
What do you
is this
need?
what you want to do? Yeah.
What do you want?
What do you actually want?
How are you going to use it? Yeah. And so how have your new dashboards gone down that it's been UX designed? How are they going down with your client or your customer?
Like chocolate cake. Just lap it up and then want more. It's funny, and it makes sense, because if I'm going to pay for something, and you bring me the standard, I'd be like, well, can you make it a little bit like this? And you go, no, it just comes out the box like this. It's like, what I want it blue. I don't want it red, and I want to tweak this and that. And if you can't do that, then you end up with a substandard product that you probably will regret buying later on. So it probably helps with kind of adding value, but also if data is so important, then what we look at every day has to be pretty, I think. If we have to look at data every day, which is obviously consuming our lives, and more on projects now, then I want it to look aesthetically pleasing, surely.
It's a new way of working. So I think we're really used to having things that look good, that are easy to use. We have beautiful apps on our phones all the time, and it's around the aesthetic and the ease of use. I think our work tools should be no different. So before you said it's tricky to measure change. I disagree with you, Val, because
love it.
Because of course, coming from a PMO background, I love measuring change and measuring change outcomes. And if you don't do that, it doesn't matter if what you've built in an IT project is fantastic. If no one's using it, the project's a failure and a huge waste of money. So I think that it's really, really important for all change, all projects, to be able to define what success looks like. And it's not just the building of the widget. And it's not even making it a beautiful widget. It's about making it a widget that the business wants. They know how to use, that they do use, and that they sing from the rooftops. They don't have to sing, but they do need to use it, and then do need to make it a part of their new ways of working. And that's the finish line. Yeah.
And do you think that? Sorry, Dale, just jumping in there again. Do you think the user experience side of things will pick up? I mean, obviously, when we think of data, we think of the kind of the process of extracting and transferring and loading that, and data warehouses and data lakes, which we'll talk about at some point.
Not with me.
But the experience of data, which is what we're going to talk about now.
Yeah, good.
Do do you feel like that's catching on, and that's going to be a part of project teams going forward? Like, is Dale's team going to be employing user experience people? Are major organizations or government organizations going to start looking at how they, as you said, sew all these data threads together? And because obviously when you're making a blanket of data together, it needs to, one, like you said, it needs to obviously be functional and features, and the people using it need to be raving fans. Surely, I don't know, you don't get trained in user experience in project management. So how does that feed into the equation?
Yeah, the skill set, the toolkit. You're talking
the toolkit
is what you're asking. What does the new practitioner's toolkit look like in 5 years' time?
That's a great question.
Such a great question. Thank you. So the data experience, for those who don't know, we're part of Swinburne University. We're a talent building consulting firm. So we're lucky enough to work with really young, bright people towards the end of their degree. We take them through a boot camp for 12 weeks and we teach them new skills. We're partners with large tech firms, and we recruit from a range of different courses, which is really interesting. So normally you'd go, right, if you're the data experience and you work on data projects, you would pick people from these backgrounds, and we don't. We pick them from everywhere. And what that has allowed us to be able to do is really understand what would it take to turn anybody into a great project consultant, right, with data skills. But with soft skills that are really super sought after, hotly sought after by big corporates and other consulting firms who understand what it is to look at the business problem from a people perspective from the very beginning of the conversation. So, and all the way through to how it's landed in the business and how they're adopting it. So what we do is we look at the problem from the very beginning, yes, from a tech perspective, but we have that UX and design thinking approach right throughout. So I think in the new toolkit for all practitioners, having a design thinking approach and having a focus on outcomes, not tech outcomes, but actual business outcomes, with a people lens is going to be really important. So that shifts quite a lot in terms of tools and templates and language and how we communicate and how we run projects and all of it. But I think that shift from not the what, but the who and the how is absolutely going to be fundamental. And around that is all the soft skills.
So if I'm an aspiring project manager, I'm listening to this going, okay, I need to pick up a bit more. I always knew that I need to be the traditional project manager, understand planning, scheduling, the works, risk, etc. I understood that I had to be had to have certain leadership qualities because I have to lead people. But now you're telling me I've got to understand data and add that. How much depth do I have to have with that? Do I have to understand the tools that they use? Do I have to understand how to construct and transform data? How deep of a knowledge do I have to have as a PM?
So I think it depends what sort of projects you work on. But I would understand the journey of a piece of data from when it's being input by a human, often at one end, and often, and where and how it goes into the source system, and then what the journey of it is in the current format, and then what good might look like in a sort of a cloud environment. I wouldn't expect that you'd be